All right, next up is UCLA in the Big Ten for the second year now. Deshaun Foster kind of struggled, though, with his first year as UCLA's head coach. Bruins finished with a 5-7 record overall, snapping a 3-year streak with at least 8 wins under Chip Kelly. Both the offense and the defense really shouldered the blame because they were both 90th or worse in EPA per play. There is some optimism, though, for the offense because UCLA brought in Tennessee quarterback Nico Iamaleava in one of the most publicized transfers in history. All the off-field drama aside, we consider him at PFF to be one of the 10 best quarterbacks in the country heading into 2025. He's one of the most physically gifted quarterbacks in America as well. But the defense still has plenty of concerns. It wasn't a great unit last year, and they lost so many key players and really failed to bring in any to get excited about in the portal. But Dalton, like I said before, Nico Iamaleava, in our opinion, is probably a top 10 quarterback in America.
Yeah, so if you're looking for hope, you always look to the quarterback spot. And if you're bringing in a guy like Nico Iamaleava, you're looking at a guy who broke through in the second half of last year, got Tennessee to the playoff. He went through his struggles early in the season, even had a concussion early in the year that affected him too. But I think you're talking about a guy with a boatload of talent. Right? So at least if you're a UCLA fan, you sit here and you go, well, we have the quarterback. And the quarterback, in theory, if he's that good, makes everybody around him better. And with his arm talent especially, creates just explosive plays left and right. He's got top 5 arm in the country. Might be number 1, honestly.
Yeah.
When you him, Sellers, Lagway, I know there's some guys with some cannons. But you talk about trying to create explosive plays. Yeah, that's what you're going to try to do with Nico.
Is he the best since Josh Rosen? DTR's up there. I put him over DTR, though.
DTR, he's probably more talented than DTR. I mean, DTR was really productive for them, for sure. You could argue he's the best they've had since Rosen. Yeah,
I would probably say that. Yeah, he's a great quarterback. I like Nico a lot. I know he got a lot of hate last year at Tennessee, and yes, he did miss some throws last year, but he's so physically talented and still had a top 20 passing grade in college football last year at Tennessee, too. He has a lot of talent, and that's really why UCLA should have some hope going into next year. Now, the weakness is a defense that really doesn't have any true difference makers on that team right now. They struggled last year, and they lost 8 of their 10 most valuable defensive players, according to our wins above average metric. They made a lot of additions through the transfer portal, but none of them were really that much of a difference maker at the previous schools either. So I'm a little worried with this UCLA defense right now.
Yeah. The more we were looking into that, that's some worry. And
I will say it was hard finding a defensive player spotlight for them.
This is a tough one. And in the Big Ten, if you don't have defense, this is a unit that if there's somehow some sort of elite unit this year, we might be a little surprised. And you got to think about some of the guys they lost in the draft, right? Oladejo was their best edge player. Yeah. Schlesinger at linebacker, Jay Toya on the inside. This defensive line especially, I'm a bit worried about.
With those guys, they were still outside the top 90 in EPA per play.
Yeah.
So I'm worried.
Their defensive line was 122nd in PFF grade last year. Yeah. And I'm not sure that they got any better. I don't think they did. Yeah. So I mean that's the part where you go, if Nico and maybe even Javian Thomas in the backfield can really give them a jolt offensively and they win high scoring games, cool. But I'm with you. I'm worried on this defense.
So tell me more about the ray of hope in that program right now. That is Nico Iamaleava.
Okay, so let's start with just the scouting kind of part of it. 6'6", absolute cannon for an arm, maybe the strongest arm in the country. He's got something close to probably 80-yard range, even in pads.
It's like Herbert-type tools.
Yeah, it really is. He's got tools for days. He's a good athlete. He can run. He was really good in Tennessee's play-action concepts last year, second-best play-action passing grade in the SEC. And as the year went on, you could start to see him developing in that intermediate range, deep slants, skinny posts, in routes, things like that, where you go, man, the arm really plays up and the ball just gets where it needs to be. I think the big question we're going to have with Iamaleava is close to 58% of his dropbacks last year were in play action, right? RPO, Josh Heupel, that sort of offense. They're not going to run that sort of. It's going to be a little more of a traditional offense, more of a pro-style offense at UCLA. Can he make the adjustment to make a lot of throws underneath, especially that he just wasn't asked to make at Tennessee? It's a completely different world when you're talking about going from Josh Heupel's offense to something more traditional. So I think that's really the question, is that the tools absolutely are there. Last year in a clean pocket, 90.5 passing grade. So when he's back there and he can let it rip, downfield, clean in the pocket, that's great, but can he do it in a different offense that doesn't make it so easy to do so? I think that's really one of the biggest mysteries. Is that it's not his talent that we question physically. It's just can he do it in this system that is not going to run play action 58% of the time?
Yeah, it's a way different offense, more of a pro-style offense, which should maybe help his NFL evaluation, but he doesn't have as much talent around him as he did at Tennessee, so that might hurt him too. It's just a weird evaluation for Nico going from Tennessee to UCLA next year. We'll see what happens, though, because he's immensely talented and could be one of the top quarterbacks in the draft if he shows some really good signs in a pro-style scheme. Because that was the one thing at Tennessee where it was like not really playing a pro-style offense with the Volunteers. Now at the UCLA, maybe his NFL evaluation is aided by that fact. One guy who should help him out in that offense is his offensive tackle in Garrett DeGiorgio, who was one of the better all-around tackles in the Big Ten last year. Their right tackle, one of 8 in the Big Ten, who had 74-plus grades both as a pass blocker and as a run blocker. 75.5 run blocking grade in particular was 7th among all Big Ten tackles last year. He's a very good athlete for the position and is entering his 4th year as UCLA's starting right tackle. So a very experienced player at right tackle and one of the better right tackles in the Big Ten.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think if you're going to have a team like this and Deshaun Foster is going to want to build a team in the trenches, that's what you're looking at as the offensive line at right tackle there and the defensive line, right? He's trying to bring in some transfers this year. A guy like Nico Iamaleava from Arkansas, the edge defender who, look, a lot of really well-taught defensive linemen been coming out of Arkansas lately. Iamaleava, 71 PFF grade last season, 70.7 as a pass rusher, 69.9 in run defense, kind of rotated in with Landon Jackson and those other guys off the edge at Arkansas. 270 pounds, solid spin move, good power in the run game. You need more players like that, right, to emerge. And I think the most concerning unit for me is the defensive line. If Iamaleava can come over from Arkansas and take another step forward, then you're talking about UCLA maybe getting a little bit better, at least up front on defense.
Yeah, I like Iamaleava. I think he's got, who's a solid player for Arkansas last year. But yeah, there is some issues at UCLA defense right now. Dalton, the bottom line for this UCLA team, over-under is 5.5 for their win total right now. Will they go over or under? Basically, will they make a bowl game with Nico Iamaleava?
This is hard.
I'm taking the under.
It's hard, and their schedule is pretty brutal.
It's the 5th hardest in the country.
The schedule's hard. It's the defense. And here's the thing. Logic tells you that if you have a quarterback as good as Nico, you shouldn't miss a bowl game, right? This defense, and when I think about the D-line specifically, right, they're playing Utah week 1. They're playing Penn State. They're playing Indiana, who wants to run it. Ohio State, I know we don't love their offensive line, but they can get after it, right? Even a team like a USC who really knows how to manipulate a defense. Michigan State's really physical up front. It's just they're playing a lot of teams, even UNLV, that want to run the football. And I'm so worried about this UCLA D-line and this front 7 with the pieces they lost and I don't think they really replaced all that well, especially the 3 NFL pieces. Obviously, when you have Oladejo and Toy on the D-line and then Schlesinger at linebacker, that's where I'm worried. I'm worried about them making enough stops and stopping the run. I think I'm going to go under also. It's also Nico adjusting to a new system with, you mentioned, not as much talent around. This is tough. Because I think, could he carry them to a bowl game? Maybe, but he's going to have to carry them. I'm worried about this defense.
I actually misspoke. It's the 2nd hardest schedule in the country according to Power Rankings. So, yeah, it's a brutal schedule, and I'm so worried about that defense next year.
There are 2 out-of-conference games to start, Utah and then at UNLV.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll preview UCLA, UNLV, but I don't know who I'd pick in that game right now.
It's tough, man. It's tough. I think they're going to go under 2. Even with a top 10 quarterback in the country, Nico Iamaleava, that's usually enough to drag a roster to a bowl game. But with that schedule, with that defense, with that supporting cast offensively, I just have a lot of questions right now. I'm picking them to go below 500 again in 2025.